I mean, aside from relationships and whatnot, people highly underestimate that we don't only do the whole hosting part of it. Like people do not expect us to even put our own money into the whole hosting, be it
Hmm.
through doing little raffles, little giveaways and such. There are still many people who believe that we are paid by Niantic to do this. That is far from the truth. Like
I
you will,
wish.
right?
I honestly, I've described to like applicants that have reached out to me through connections, like it felt like a job I was paying to do. Like at its worst, like there were definitely great aspects to it, but the money portion of it, not only was I driving a half hour each way to each meetup and hosting at least two meetups a week, like the gas and wear and tear on my car and the time, but in 2023 I spent over $4,000 on meetups. And that hurts to think about. Like it's lots of little things. It's buying somebody an Apple gift card so that they can participate in a raid hour and they could get raid passes. It's buying things for gift bags, which I did for every meetup. It's buying new button machines and paying for like to rent a park space and permits and all this other stuff that Niantic isn't responsible for. And they still have it still has to be done. Like if you're going to do a larger meetup or if you want to reserve a space, you have to pay. And I never fundraised because I wasn't sure where or how that would be acceptable to Niantic because we used to have pretty strict rules about like not taking money except for to like pay just the cost for making something. So like if you spend $1 to make a button, you could charge somebody $1, but you couldn't make a profit. So I was always concerned if I tried to fundraise that I would go over and get in trouble. I don't think that would actually happen, but so yeah, it was just me paying out of pocket for everything for years. So yeah,
Wow.
I was just gonna say when I spoke with Alex about the Niantic employee about applying and like it was before the program was like out and official and made public. I thought that it was going to be a lot different than it was. Was already hosting a lot of meetups. I already had a community. I was already super involved. I thought there would be more support from Niantic. I did not understand what being a community ambassador actually was. Like I was so excited when like I got in. I was like, okay, like they're gonna pay like for the park, they're gonna pay for all the prizes, all this stuff. And then no, not at all. And they can't legally pay any of that. So yeah, sorry.
Do you ever feel pressure to spend money in Pokemon Go? I mean, either from the game itself or
Yeah.
the
I think
the other
it's
players
gotten
doing
really
it.
expensive to play the game. And that was really hard for me. I would always publicly defend Niantic when people in my community or online would complain about all the microtransactions, all the tickets, all the events that there's like this fear of missing out because you don't know when something's going to come back. And your best chance at getting it is if you buy this 99-cent ticket. Well, now it's $1.99. Now you don't get a free community day ticket for checking it or pass ticket, whatever it is, for checking on Campfire. You get the branching research, which you have to work for. But I always tried to like find a positive spin. And one of the things that happened a lot last year where I was like, I really need to get serious about stepping back from being community ambassadors, I would go to every meetup because I was hosting and I was buying raid passes so that I could help out newer players because we were usually around like 30 players or so. So there'd be a big group and then a smaller group that I would always hold back on. And I wanted to have strong Pokemon to help them. So I had to buy raid passes and I wouldn't even catch the raid boss. Like I got to the point where like I did not enjoy playing the game and I was spending so much money and I felt so much guilt over the money spent, but then I felt guilt if I didn't do it. And that, yeah, that was a very stressful part of being a community ambassador. And I wish there was more transparency for applicants in what being a community ambassador actually means and what the expectations are and what the rewards are because there's a lot of misinformation. I've had people ask me like when there's an assumption there's some sort of payment like a payment per event that you host or like a monthly stipend or something like that. And somebody who is a community ambassador who I actually know who they are, they were trying to encourage people to apply, I think on the Self Road Reddit, and they said that we were given free trips to like Go Fest. And that's never, there used to be contests when it was a much smaller number. And I know they did it for I think they did it for Sinnoh last year, where they had a couple community ambassadors, but it was never something that was program wide, like ever. And I just feel like it's setting people up for failure if they're not given the information about what the program is ahead of time. So, and I know there's just a lot of secrecy because they don't want people to apply for like the perks, the check and rewards and stuff, but it's not a whole lot. And if you're willing to give up your time to build a community, to wait months and months through the applicant process, I know it's a bit different than it used to be with the Sylph era, but if you're going to put all this together and police your community to make sure nobody's breaking terms of service and get the photos and everything else, like, you should know what you're getting into. Like, you should be set up for success. That's, I don't know, something I brought up a lot when I could with community managers. I don't know if anything's changed since I left, but
And how about monetary wise?
yes. Okay, so I'm trying to find a way to live with myself with this, because looking back over the last like almost 8 years now of gameplay, I bought like every article of clothing for my avatar. And just thinking about the math on that, thinking about the money spent on meetups and traveling and gameplay, it hurts like in my soul, but I try to remember that it was the experience. Like, instead of going on a vacation, I played both days of Go Fest like the full time, and bought a bunch of like incubators or whatever. I should have set a budget. I definitely should have set a budget, but I'm trying for like my own sanity to not think too much about how much I spend, to just be okay with it, because it really hurts when you think about how much it costs, and all those little micro transactions over time, they add up. And knowing that like if my account was hacked, it would just be gone. I wouldn't be able to fleece king my way out of it. I know a lot of players have had that happen because they had PTC. Like, I have a fleece king story too, but I won't say it here.
I'm here
But
now.
yeah, yeah, I think Niantic should apologize for that, because that's not fair that one guy got his account back and all of his stuff back, and no other player will have that experience. I know a lot of people that have lost their accounts because they thought they were doing the right thing by having a PTC account, because if you had the PTC account, then you got free in-game items, and like, of course, it's the Pokemon company, like, it's got to be like legit and secure, and it wasn't. And it's not just losing the money that you put into the account, it's losing the time, it's losing those experiences, like those Pokemon, like maybe you caught something in Osaka and you named it, and like it was your pride and joy, and like just it's gone. Somebody's selling it now on eBay. That there has to be a better system than what there is. There has to be something better than just like, you're shit out of luck. So
Yeah, pro tip for everyone: PTC. Don't use that as a login for your Pokemon Go. Use either
yes.
Google or Facebook, because PTC doesn't have two factors authentication. So all you need to log in using PTC is your username and your password. So if you want to protect your account, make sure you don't use PTC, use Google or Facebook, because both those have two factors of
And don't
authentication.
post screenshots of your account information online, not just your password, but like your username, your total XP, all that stuff. Bad people can use that information to gain access to your account to steal it. It happens a lot. People are excited because they reach like level 45 or whatever. They post like the screenshot of their account and all their catches, everything on Twitter. And then somebody uses that to get the password information because they contact in-game support and they're like, I can't remember my password, but I remember all the details that you need me to tell you, which are on that screenshot. Be really careful about sharing any information about your account. Do not, like, never ever share your login information just because you think you're going to get cheaper coins, or you think somebody is going to trade you a Pokemon that you can't get in your region. Like, it's not going to happen. They're going to steal your account. They're going to sell it on Etsy or eBay or get it back, unless you're Fleece King. So
Sorry, Ghost.
Okay,
It's just-
okay, and that
it's
okay,
true.
I get that. That was unfair. That is unfair. Okay.
it isn't fair.
Change it up a little bit and talk about the local government topic. right?
Oh my God, we're not even there yet.
No. I think we kind of covered the other two. Not directly through, but kind of in pieces.
Yeah, because
So
kind of
you'd
covered it.
mentioned getting permits, right, for bigger, right?
Yeah.
So what was your process with all that? Like how involved did you end up getting and everything?
I had to fill out all the forms and make the reservations and pay for everything and deal with the insurance. When you're the community ambassador and like your name is on the event, if anything goes wrong or you're violating any city ordinances or laws, you're the one that's in trouble. So I believe that it's at 50 people in Bend, where once there's a meetup with 50 people or a group of with meetup with 50 people, you have to have a permit. And once you get to 100, you have to have insurance. And all of that is super expensive. Even if I was doing a smaller meetup, we have really rough weather here. Like right now, I think it's 2 degrees and there's tons of snow and ice on the ground. In the summer, we have fires and it's hot, very hot and very dry. So if I wanted to reserve any sort of shaded area at one of the parks, you have to pay for that, even if it's just 10 people. Otherwise, you're not supposed to use it. So all these meetups got really expensive. The workaround that I found was that if the group just got together for the picture and for check-in at the beginning and then split up really quickly and everybody was moving the whole time, it wasn't as noticeable, I guess, that because there's so many tourists in Bend, that there was something going on. There were definitely times that I was told that like we were gonna have the cops called on us. There's 2 areas in Bend that are good for gameplay. One is the downtown area. There's a park near it. You have to pay for parking in the area. You have to have a permit and insurance if the group gets to a certain size or to reserve any part of the park. The other part is an outdoor shopping area. We don't have any malls here. It is private property. It has wonderful, wide, safe walking paths around the river with 2 bridges, lots of Pokestops, gyms, but it's private property and they get pissed if people are blocking entrances or taking all the parking spots or people are smoking. And when we were having big meetups or bigger meetups for us, where there's, 80 to 120 people, you can't control everybody, especially if you've never met a person before. They just showed up. And yeah, it would come down on me. And so we had to change up last summer. We added another meetup location, which was there's a community college, and we started meeting there for 8 hours. But we could only do that for so long because when school was back in session, they didn't want us there. So yeah, it's just another thing that like adds stress and that Niantic doesn't help you with. And I understand that if they did pay for the reservations or permits or insurance, and it would be like they were taking some liability in it. So I understand it from that perspective. There's no way that you can do a meetup where you have hundreds of people. And I know that there's some communities like one in London where there's like thousands of people and you're in charge because you set up the meetup and you told everybody to come here and Niantic is promoting it. And if something goes wrong, that they're not going to try to find you and come at you for that. Like there's just no way. And it's nice that Niantic promotes the communities and the meetups. It definitely increases not just check-ins, but just overall turnout for the meetups. It sucks though if you're having to pay, and if you're having to pay even more once you get to an even higher level of people, and you have to make sure that everybody has insurance, and you're just assuming how many people are going to come because you have to do everything a month in advance, and maybe the weather will go bad, nobody will show up, and you've just spent $300 for a community day, and you're the only one there because it's freezing rain. So I that would be another way that having backup hosts that had check and reward authorization, that way you could spread the meetups out, like maybe not just be at one park or in one location, but several. That way you're not violating any ordinances. That would be super helpful because everybody wants those check-in rewards. I know that you can check in a kilometer away, but if you're in a more rural area or an area where there's really only one safe place to play, that is going to put everybody where you are, and that's going to make you responsible for whatever happens. And I was always stressed out with large meetups. if there wasn't insurance, if somebody like tripped on something and broke their ankle, like would I be responsible for that? Like would they sue? My husband would freak out. Like, they're gonna sue you. You're the meetup host. You didn't make sure that this area was cleared of twigs or whatever. I wish that there was, I know Niantic can't pay for anything. I wish there was some sort of guidance from them. And I feel like that was something that was brought up a lot, because there's a lot of community ambassadors that have to pay for every single meetup. There's no way around it for them because our meetups are so large. Like Tara pays out the wazoo for all the meetups that she does. And just having some sort of advice, even if it wasn't if it was unofficial advice, that would still be better than just radio silence from Niantic on it, because it sucks. It really, really sucks, especially with the number of events and meetups that are happening or